to the SATS Show, your beginner-friendly guide to saving in Bitcoin. What up? What's up, Leonard? Welcome to the show. Thanks for stacking that like. Hey. Is it working? Is it working? Yes, looks like it's working. All right. Hope all is well. Hope you had a good weekend. Let's get this show rocking. How's it going, Leonard? You get to fish this weekend? Yeah, let's go. All right, this is episode 29. I said I would do this for 30 days. We're so close. Tomorrow will be the 30th day. No fishing. Tomorrow will be the 30th day of the show. 30th episode, actually. And so we will do one more show. We'll do the 30th day tomorrow. Today's the 29th episode. And then we're going to take the rest of the week off. I'm going to continue to stack, though. I'm going to continue to stack daily. Same process, same procedure. $10 a day or $15 a day if the price of Bitcoin drops below our average buy price, or $25 a day if it drops below our all-time low for the beginning of the show. So 30 bucks or 30 buys. Okay. And then after this next week, after the weekend, I'll have time to think about whether I continue to do this show or if I just do it once a week and catch you guys up with the sat count for daily buys. We'll see what works out. But that is what we're doing for the next couple of days. So today and tomorrow. Okay. All right. That said, let's jump into the beginning of the show with the set strength. How many satoshis, fractions of the Bitcoin can you buy for $1? Right now, you can buy 3,282 satoshis for just $1. What a deal. I tell you guys, it's a super good deal. If you're new to the show, at any time during the broadcast, say hello in the chat. And if you don't have any SATS, if you don't know how to use a Lightning wallet, we're gonna have you download one tonight, and I'll send you 1,000 satoshis, just like that. 1,000 satoshis. That'll be your first fractions of a Bitcoin. Get you started, get you going, get you start playing with it and understand it. So there it is. What other show's gonna give you 1,000 sats? All right, here we go. If you're walking down the street, find a penny, pick it up, and all the day you'll have 32 satoshis. So 33 satoshis. So for 1 penny right now, you can buy 33 satoshis. Who knows how long we'll be able to get? Who knows how long we'll have such a good deal on buying satoshis, buying sats, buying fractions of a Bitcoin. So get them while you can. All right, that's all I got for you guys as far as sat count goes. Let's jump into the Why We Stack segment. So I saw this video today talking about monetization of things that shouldn't be considered money. Right? And gold being one of them. And the one that really struck a chord with me, and it kind of made sense, was the monetization of real estate. And how our money is, how the US dollar or pretty much any other government currency is broken. And so people naturally try to find a way to retain the strength of their purchasing power by investing that money into other things that hold value better than the dollar. And one of those things being real estate. And so it creates a problem when big money is using real estate as a form of money, because our actual money is not good at preserving value, preserving wealth, right? So what ends up happening is we get these crazy inflated prices on homes because they're not being bought by regular people. They want to live in them. They're being bought as an investment for big money that wants to return on investment and wants to rent them out or something, just make it some kind of positive cash flow thing. And so the people that need places to live, they're kind of priced out of the market because they're not going to be able to compete with the big dogs, with the big money, right? So we end up in a situation like this where regular people with regular families with even 2 incomes cannot afford to save up for the down on a house, let alone payments, especially now that the interest rate is so high. Right? So we end up in a situation where, like, since the money, it's 2 or 3 steps removed, right? But the real cause of that is the money. It's broken, right? So they'll fix the money and that'll fix real estate. Like, there's no reason why you should be paying so much for these homes. It's just that the demand for a place to preserve your wealth is up, right? Anyway, once Bitcoin gets more adopted, hopefully real estate will be less of a place for people to store their wealth, and it just becomes what it's supposed to be, just a place for people to live, right? A home is supposed to be a place for people. Home is supposed to be for people, not for wealth. Speaking of real estate, you see BlackRock is buying whole neighborhoods and leaving them vacant and tearing them down. Dang. Buying whole neighborhoods and leaving the vacant and tearing. Yeah, because for them it's probably less maintenance to just hold a property, right? Or to develop on it so they can develop more square footage per foot. So what you see is homes, the new stuff is getting built in a way that they can maximize the square footage, but not the actual lot footage. So for example, you can build a 3-story condo on less actual real estate, but the floor plan, since it has 3 floors, it counts as 3 times the square footage. So when you see it on like a listing, you can charge per square foot, right? Even if you're not getting the same amount you're getting on a home that has a backyard and a front yard and more space, more land. On paper, it still looks okay because you have a lot of square footage. The house is a lot of square feet, but it's like stacked. It's not. That's a wrong kind of stacking. That's a wrong kind of stacking. They're trying to force people to live. Exactly, Leonard. It makes it to where that you can stack more people closer together, right? And give them less actual living space, less actual real estate, but just increasing the square footage, but stacking it, right? But giving them multiple floors. Yeah, in cities. So it's pretty wild, dude. It's pretty wild. So all of that, as soon as people realize that you don't have to store your wealth in real estate and be subject to the taxes from it, and be subject to not being able to just get up and leave with it. You have to sell it, right? And not be subject to the realtor fees for selling and buying a property. For actually taking out your profits out of a property if you had profits in a property, right? And switch that and start to use Bitcoin as that store of value as opposed to using that real estate as a store of value, then Bitcoin will go up. I mean, they're starting to figure it out. And we're early guys. We got to get in there and buy some before everybody finds out. But anyway, that's kind of the problem with using real estate as a store of wealth. You know, real estate shouldn't be a store of wealth. I don't think it should be a place for people to live, right? And it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, you feel like you're not gonna really own anything if you have a condo. It's like you're gonna pay as much. You're gonna pay over $1 million for like a 3-story. It's crazy. You don't even get any land with it. I don't even think that. I don't even think it includes a. I don't even think it includes the lot of land that the building is built on. You're basically just buying the building it's built on, and you probably have homeowner associations you have to pay, and yeah, just like it's just terrible. It's just not a good deal. It's not a good deal. Yeah, it just, to me anyway, that's my uneducated, unprofessional advice. Not advice, unprofessional thoughts. They don't want people to own it. Exactly. They don't want people to own anything. That's true. That's true. But it's too bad for them, Leonard, because we still own Bitcoin. Let's go. All right. So speaking of Bitcoin, I'm glad Leonard, you're in there. You're in that chat, commenting it up. So yeah, they don't want us to own anything. But joke's on them. We own Bitcoin, and no matter what they do, they can't take that away from you if you have it in self-storage. Okay? So, with that said, we're going to do what we do every night, Monday through Friday. We're going to vote. We're going to vote not to take part in the, I don't know what you call it, like the never-ending wars that we get into for the sake of other companies making money by selling us weapons and all these things. And then the rebuild process, right? We start a war, we destroy something, we have to go rebuild it, and nobody's making money but those companies that are selling the weapons and and getting the contracts to go rebuild somewhere that we destroyed. I'm opting out of all that stuff every time I stack Bitcoin, right? I'm taking my wealth and I'm taking it out of the dollar system so that wealth can't get leached away via inflation, the hidden tax, and use for crazy things like that, starting wars and rebuilding and doing all these things I never voted for, right? You can vote. Once every 2 years or every 4 years you can vote, but I vote every day with how I conserve my wealth, with buying Bitcoin. Okay, so I'm opting. Excuse me, I need a cup of water. I'm opting out of the military industrial complex and the never-ending wars, and I'm gonna own something. I'm gonna own Bitcoin, put in self-storage where nobody can touch it. And if I decide that when my time is done to take my wealth with me, I can take it with me to my grave, and there's nothing anybody can do to prevent that, right? Not even the pharaohs with their giant pyramids could take their wealth with them. They left it in tombs in the pyramids, and they got sacked, they got robbed. Right? So we are in a place where this is never an option for humanity, but now it is. It's such a powerful technology. And at this point, Bitcoin is so big as far as the network goes and the hash rate, it would be impossible. Not impossible, but very unlikely for anyone to stop it. You can't stop it at this point. There's too many nodes. There's too much hash rate on it. To compete with it, the amount of resources it would take to compete with it or overwhelm it, it just wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make financial sense. You'd have to have like most of the governments in the world coordinate something, and they're too busy fighting each other and blaming each other for stuff. Anyway, that was a long one. Let's jump into let's jump into the stack recap, guys. Stack recap. This is where we talk about our current position on the show. We started buying Bitcoin on this show at $5 a day back in May 22nd, about $5 worth. And we've continued to buy all the way up until the 12th of June, where we switched over to Swan Bitcoin. So we're buying $10 minimum now. And sometimes $15, sometimes $25, right? Depends on the average price or average buy price against the current price of Bitcoin. So today is episode 29. It is 7:10. And today, like every Monday through Friday, we'll be stacking some Bitcoin. So I like to use Swan Bitcoin. They're a Bitcoin only exchange. We have an affiliate link with them. It is stacksatshow.com/swan. I'll put it in the chat if you're interested in learning how to do it. We'll do some explainer videos here soon, but I've kind of shown you guys in the past. But there it is. Nightbot put it in there for us. Start stacking sats with Swan Bitcoin today and get $10 worth of Bitcoin when you use our affiliate link. stacksatshow.com/swan. All right, here we go. I'm gonna show you guys how it works. We get it set up. Make sure I'm still logged in. I'm not logged in. It's okay. Get logged in right now. Oh man, I thought today was the 9th. Yeah, dude, it's crazy, right? Time flies. Time super flies. Super fly. What's going on here? Let's see here. Check your email. Oh, what? Oh, I put the wrong email. My bad. Sorry, guys. Normally I log in before the show, but I forgot to log in today. Here we go. Boom. Refresh. There it is. Here. All right, I am logged in, I think. Oh, nope. What's the authenticator code? Give me a second. Normally it goes pretty smoother than this, guys. Apologize for the little delay here. Okay, here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, are we in? Are we in? We are in. Okay. All right, here we are. Going in there. Has this auto withdrawn yet? Oh my god, I saw it's an auto withdrawn. I need to check why it's not doing that. All right, here we go. We're going to buy some sats now. It's time to stack. I'm going to stack some sats. Let's go. We're going to hit the buy instantly button. So bring up. So ask us how much you want to buy. We're going to buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. And we're going to preview the buy. To my notes. Now we're going to come back to the screen for you guys. We're going to hit the buy button. Here we go. There we go. Ready? About to stack some sats, boys. $10 worth of Bitcoin. It's going to cost us 10 cents to buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. No drummer down. Got tired. He got tired. There it is. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have stacked some SATS. And the crowd goes wild. The live studio audience is hyped tonight, guys. Super hype. Okay. So just like that, we stacked some SATs. Now let's update our spreadsheet and see where we're at. We didn't even check where we're at before. Let me check real quick. We are at 1,270,869 satoshis. We've spent $355.47 so far, and our Bitcoin holding is worth $387.13. So we're up about 9%. But we don't care. All we want to see is SAT number go up. This is just flash. This is just a mirage. This is the number that matters. Satoshi's count go up. Okay, so let's go here. We bought at 30,541. 30,541. And then we bought $10 worth and 10 cents. We bought $10 worth because the average price of our buy-in is below the current price of Bitcoin. So if the current price of Bitcoin was below our average buy-in, we'd buy twice as much. Or we'd buy an extra $5 worth, so $15 worth. But not today. So that yielded 0.00032743 Bitcoin. Three. There we go. Copy this formula. All this formula does is moves the decimal over from here 8 places to here. Okay. I'm gonna change the color here to white. All right. That is our buy. We were able to stack an additional 32,743 satoshis, and that means that our count is now up to, look at that. Gee, we're past 1.25 million SATs, right? So next thing you know, we'll have 2 million SATs, and there it goes, right? Slow and steady, slow and steady. If we get to 0.1 here, that'd be amazing, right? If we get to 1 whole Bitcoin, geez, you're set, right? Okay, so that is the status of our portfolio, I guess you could say, of our show portfolio, and that is chill time now. It's chill time. I feel a lot better every time I stack, knowing that if I were saving for something that's worth $400, I would be pretty close to it, just because I saved in Bitcoin. The only difference between this number and this number is that the wealth that we put into Bitcoin is holding its value relative to the newer dollar, which is worth less. So the newer dollar, because of inflation over the past month, loses purchasing power. So you need more dollars to buy the same amount of Bitcoin. Simple as that. Super, super simple. When the amount of dollars is not capped, every time they print dollars, the dollars you're holding are worth less relative to the whole pie. So in essence, you're getting taxed at whatever the inflation rate is. And they're going to try to trick you and say the inflation rate is only 2 or 3%. But that's because they're only including things that are not going up in price as much. Things that are easy to make. Things that are easy to make, like a YouTube, like a YouTube subscription, or like a Netflix subscription. Those don't inflate as much because it doesn't cost Netflix that much more to have other people sign up for the same service. The service is already running, so they don't got to go out and make more things to get more people to sign up for the service, right? That's why that's the least inflating thing. But when things are hard to make, like gasoline, food, housing, those reflect more accurately their own inflation rate, right? But the White House said inflation is down 4%. It is, but it depends on what they're measuring, right? So they're measuring certain things. They're not measuring things that are hard to make to factor into the inflation rate. That's where people get tripped up, right? So they sample a basket of goods, and the basket of goods they're sampling doesn't include hard things to make like milk, gasoline, oil. You know, they factor in things that are easy to make and that don't go up in price as much, like subscriptions. Anyway, that's the idea, right? But we know, you and I both know, that when you go to the gas station or when you go buy milk, right, that stuff is not going up. That stuff is not down 4%, right? I'll tell you that much right now. That stuff is not down 4%, okay? And it doesn't matter who's in the White House. It doesn't matter who's in Congress. It doesn't matter who's in the Senate. They both spend money, okay? They both spend more money than we have. They both raise the debt ceiling. They do a dog and pony show every time they do it, and they blame each other for this and that. But in the end, they both spend money. They both print more money. And when they print more money, I don't care who's printing it, Republican or Democrat, you're losing value. You're losing purchasing power, right? So don't let them distract you with political stuff, right? This is not an orange, or this is not a red versus blue thing. This is a green versus orange thing, right? This is the US dollar stealing your wealth on top of the taxes they already charge you, right? Versus Bitcoin. Well, not even versus, because Bitcoin doesn't need to do anything. It just needs to do what it does, which is not inflate, which is have a limited supply, right? 21 million Bitcoin, never more, and a lot has been lost. So there's definitely less than 20 million Bitcoin available, right? And yeah, it's just gonna keep going up as more people realize it's an inflation hedge, right? And then once you're in there, and the big institutions realize that they're also losing money because they can't invest in real estate anymore because the rate is so high that it doesn't make sense for them to, right? Then they will all eventually come to Bitcoin. Even if it's 1%, 2% of their holdings, their holdings relative to the holdings of Bitcoin now are incredibly, it's just wild. I'll show you this graphic real quick. It's been a while since I showed this, so let's see, this one. This is probably kind of older, but I mean, it still works. This is off of the so it shows how much wealth is stored in Bitcoin right now, which is it's not 400 billion. It's more like, let's see, this is more actual. Here we go. Market cap. It's 591 billion. 591 billion. That's not even a trillion, right? So $591 billion or $1 billion worth of wealth is stored in Bitcoin right now, right? Because there's so many Bitcoin and they're each worth this much. So that's how much it's worth, I guess, right? I'm not even sure if that's the right way to describe it. But the point is that this guy, okay, gold has $12 trillion worth of assets, right? And people that have gold, people that are storing gold for as a hedge against inflation, gold is inflating at 2%, right? So over 30 years, I think it's 30 years, the value that you're saving in gold over 30 years goes to half or something like that. 30 or 40 years. So yeah, it is a good thing, but it's still losing value over time. It's still a leaky boat. It's a less leaky boat, but it's still a leaky boat, right? Then you have art. You can go and buy a Mona Lisa, but you can't buy a Satoshi of a Mona Lisa. You got to buy the whole thing, right? You got to buy the whole Picasso, right? And then you got to make sure that you have somewhere safe to keep it so it doesn't get damaged. and you're preserving it the right way, right? Or else you lose value, right? And you can't break off a piece of that Picasso or Mona Lisa to buy something, right? You can't travel. You can travel with it, but would you travel through airport with your precious painting, right? That's storing value for you. It's difficult, right? It's difficult. So, when you collect cars, yeah, car collections are cool, right? There's $6 trillion worth of wealth stored in collectible cars, right? And the reason we're going over these right now is because think about just 1% of these numbers from each of these categories or asset classes going into Bitcoin. That's going to make Bitcoin, like, even just 1% of this, right, of gold would make Bitcoin like go up a lot, right? It'd be 1% of 12 trillion, right? You have equities, right? It's got $115 trillion, right? Once these people realize that equities are not keeping up with inflation, right? They're gonna want to take some of that value out and store it into a different asset that's been proven to retain wealth versus the dollar or versus all these other asset types. And that's the only one that's been doing I think it's like over 80% since the beginning of the year, right? Is Bitcoin. It's like the best option. Real estate, same thing, right? Once people realize that real estate is not a good place, I mean, it's one of the best places to store value, but it's not very practical as well, right? You have to like get a realtor involved, pay a bunch of fees, pay taxes on it every year, right? If you want to preserve like $10 million worth of value, right? Let's say you want to preserve $10 million worth of value, and you want to say, okay, I'm going to put $10 million into real estate. How much is it going to cost you in taxes every year to hold $10 million worth of real estate, right? It's going to cost you a ton, right? It's going to cost you a ton just to even get that much real estate. So you're already kind of eating away at your savings. You're already eating away at that wealth, right? Whereas if you buy Bitcoin, you don't have to pay a property tax. Yeah, if you sell it within the year, you have to pay what's it called, capital gains tax, but that's different. I mean, that's you're making a profit, so that makes sense to pay taxes, right? I guess that's the law, right? And then bonds. Don't even get me started on bonds, dude. Like the 10-year bond has got like a lesser interest rate than a 2-year bond, right? So you'll make more money by buying a 2-year bond than locking up your money for 10 years or 5 years, right? So it doesn't make sense, right? You're locking up your money for 10 years and you're making 3 or 4% on it over 10 years, right? Over 10 years, you're losing against inflation, right? So by the time you get your money back, your purchasing power is less than what you started with, relative to the time. It's weird, right? And let's not get into just holding cash in a bank, in a jar, in a treasure chest buried in your backyard under the mattress. You know, that cash that's under the mattress, that cash that's in a safety deposit box or whatever. Even though it's locked up and buried and nobody can touch it physically, this is the beauty of the thievery. This is the beauty of the mechanism they have to steal your wealth, that they don't even have to touch your money physically to take the purchasing power you work so hard for, right? Because remember, I know I've said this every single time on the show, and I probably already said it today. When the government can print infinite amount of money, your money gets diluted. The money that you work for, that you exchange your life force for, that you exchange your time in this world for gets devalued. And so they're stealing your time. They're stealing your life via inflation, right? And they're trying to hide that from you by fudging the numbers, telling you inflation is down when you know it's not. And they try to keep you asleep, try to keep you busy, try to make sure you don't own anything so you never feel like you have enough time to look up, take a breath, and see what the hell is going on. That you're getting robbed, that you're getting worked, and that you're getting used as an economic battery, right? They want you working as early as possible and working through your whole life into the later and later in life, so that you have less time to look up and figure out what the heck's going on, right? Bitcoin is going to give you the time to look up and see what's going on, right? It's going to give you the time to get involved in your community if you want to get involved in your community, right? It's going to give you the time to look up and study something you want to study, right? It's going to give you that hope that maybe you can save for something, right? When you're working, and it feels like you can't save because you're putting money in the bank and it's not enough. It's never going to be enough because you're swimming against the current, because as you're saving it, it's getting devalued. And the longer you hold on to that cash, the less it's worth. So what you do, and again, it's not financial advice, look this up for yourself, study Bitcoin, okay? You take that value when you first get it in the form of dollars, and you pay what you got to pay. You spend the dollars, and then you save in Bitcoin. Spend the dollars, save in Bitcoin, and gradually you'll see that your Bitcoin savings are growing. But how can they be growing if you're not getting any yield on it? It's growing relative to the price of the dollar, right? We've been doing this since May for about 30 days, a little over 30 days. And in those 2 months, right? In those 2 months, I'm not saying that we might drop and this might drop, right? And we'll be in the negative, but that's okay. All I'm saying is that this is a reflection of inflation right here, right? It's pretty accurate. Maybe the real inflation rate is somewhere around 8 or 9%, right? So it's clear as day. This is the whole reason why we did this channel, why I did this channel, why I did this project, why I'm showing the purchases, why I'm showing, this is everything. Like, I'm not hiding anything from you guys. It's straight up, and it's a real life example, right? Again, we only started with $5 a pop, $5 a day, and went to $10 a day. But this could easily be a portfolio that you do for $25 a week, $50 a week, $100 a month, right? The objective here is to start moving some of our wealth into Bitcoin in case the theory, well, I say a theory, but when they continue to print money, you at least have some kind of percentage of your wealth in Bitcoin, because you know it's going to keep going up, right? I'm not saying go all in. It's up to you guys to figure out what you want to do, but do study it. Like, if watching this show inspired you to learn a little bit more about Bitcoin, there's a ton of really good resources that I recommend to get you started, because it's a long process, guys. It's difficult. I don't know anybody that I've talked to recently that remembers getting a decent financial education in our school system, right? Even people that go to college for financial things don't get taught about the gold standard. You know, that's all about trading and derivatives and all this other stuff, right? They're all working with fake money. They're all working with a fiat system that's set up to rob them, right? So I recommend a bunch of books. I have a whole list of things I recommend in our Discord server. Our Discord server is called StackSats. Discord server? StackSats. The StackSats Show Discord. I'll put it in the chat. Discord. Oops. Discord. If you're watching this replay and you can't see the chat, you can just go to stacksatshow.com/Discord. We're in there. We're strictly Bitcoin only. If you want to know about other coins and that kind of stuff, we don't mess with other coins because all other coins that are not Bitcoin are basically unregistered securities. And there's a lot of weird things that goes on with those. They could change the rules on you. You get rug pulled. There are ways. All other coins that are not Bitcoin are basically ways for those people to take your Bitcoin or for them to make money off of you. Anyway, don't get rug pulled. But do go check out our Discord site. And I have a whole section in there with books I recommend, videos I recommend, which do have a great way to give you like a foundation for what Bitcoin is. I have some articles that I highlight in there that I enjoy, and I think they're good resources for beginners. I have our affiliate link for Swan Bitcoin, how you can get started and how you can buy Bitcoin on a regular basis and export it to your own wallet. What else do I have? And I have wallets I recommend for storing in self custody, because you can't just go buy Bitcoin. You gotta self custody it too. Okay, and you'll understand what that means as you start your Bitcoin journey and learning what it is. Just remember, when you start doing research on Bitcoin, you're gonna get the algorithms doesn't know the difference, and it's gonna suggest different videos like on Ethereum, Cardano, all these other random coins, trading and all this other stuff. Don't do any of that stuff. Okay, not financial advice, but I wouldn't recommend doing any of that stuff because trading is difficult and it's not that. If you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna lose money. And again, and I don't mess with any other coins. Okay, we're Bitcoin only and self custody. Okay, basic 2 steps. Okay, before you buy any Bitcoin, this is a rule that I'm gonna make up here, or like something I've heard before, but I think it's a really good rule. Before you buy any Bitcoin, before you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, you need to do 100 hours worth of Bitcoin content, like research. Either read a book, watch videos, listen to podcasts about Bitcoin. Not any other coins, only Bitcoin. Read the book called Inventing Bitcoin. It's a great book to get you started. There's a book called The Bitcoin Standard, which is also a great book. Start with those 2 books, okay? Again, those books are listed in our Discord server, and there's a whole set of videos that I recommend in the Discord server. And those are good videos to start off with to get you towards that like 100 hours of studying. And I know it sounds like a ton, it sounds like a lot, but in order to really understand the benefits of Bitcoin and what it means and what it does for us, you got to understand the current system. You got to understand how the money system works now, right? And then you'll understand what the problem is and how Bitcoin is a solution, okay? So I know it's a difficult topic. It's tough, but everybody's got some time to educate themselves a little bit on their financial security, financial freedom, I guess you could say, right? Because I'm telling you, this is the way. All right. Hope that wasn't too much. Feeling a little rambly today. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new and haven't had a chance to make a comment, say hello, subscribe. And if you don't have any Bitcoin now and you have a Lightning enabled wallet, I will send you 1,000 satoshis. That's 1,000 fractions of a Bitcoin. You need 100 million satoshis to make 1 Bitcoin, but still, you can get started on your Bitcoin journey today or on any of our live shows. I will send you 1,000 sats. You say hello in the chat. And same here for my sats. Okay? Watch the replay, come back live, and we'll get you those sats. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back here tomorrow at 8:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode of the Stack Sats Show, where we stack sats every day, every night. Later.